It's Domestic Violence Abuse Awareness Month, and I just finished listening to the Camilla and McKinley podcast, and then obviously in the past this year, I watched Kayla Malek's podcast and video of her side. So like I watch both. Obviously, they got a lot of views because they're big. So I think it's time that I kind of go and talk about what I went through. So, like both of them said, not both of them, but McKinley mainly said, like, it didn't start off bad at all. So, in my case, I was with the dude for 4.5 years. So, the first, I'd say, since we met up until like 6 months, it was really good. Like, he treated me just fine. Like, we were hanging out. Like, I was still in college at the time, and I was finishing up my 2-year degree in order to transfer to my 4-year. And I was just doing that, like, I went to classes, I hung out with him, we hung out together, just like the typical, like, thing you would do when you start dating a guy. And then, I guess, like, I should have seen it coming. Like, I should have seen it as a red flag. A lot of people told me, specifically my parents, they told me, like, hey, like, why, is he doing this? Like, just some things were, like, people were telling me that were red flags, but I kind of just, like, let them slide, which obviously now, like, I would never let that slide with, like, any relationship I get in. Like, now, like, I know red flags, like, to just not ignore them, just, to take them in. So, obviously, I was 20 at the time, and it was kind of like, I guess, my first real relationship I got into, I guess, at the time. Like, I was in college, just, how we all are, like, when we're young, that young. So, it was like, okay, so I had graduated with my 2-year degree. I got into my 4-year university, so I already knew where I was going to transfer to, starting in September, and I was looking for a summer job, and I found a full-time job, but here's the thing, like, okay, one, he lied about him going to college, like, studying for his doctors. Back then, I kind of let that slide pass. I'm like, oh, it's whatever. Like, I know, like, he told me that, oh, he's gonna, like, work full-time and, like, have his life put together eventually. But he kept saying that. But we can get that into that, like, later on. But that was one red flag. 2, he said, like, oh, you should work part-time in the summer so that we can hang out. Like, don't work full-time. So, obviously, me being young and dumb, basically. At the time, I didn't think about it, but obviously now, like, I was being young and dumb. I'm like, I listened to him. And he had nothing to offer me. Like, I was probably working more than he was in the summer and working part-time. I actually got a full-time job, but I had to kind of, like, say it was part-time, but it was actually full-time, and I don't know. It was weird, but I just had to do weird shit so, like, he wouldn't get mad. But, of course, it was my first real relationship that I got, and that I had, like, actually told my parents about. So, I guess you could say, like, I wasn't in love, but, like, I just wanted it to work out, if that makes sense. I don't know, I was in college, young and dumb. Like, I feel like we've all been there. So, those are already red flags from, like, after 6 months. Let it slide. And I guess my dad I guess maybe like, you know, the MacBooks where you can literally like look or text through a MacBook, like, because it connects to your iPhone. So with that, I guess like it was when I had a dog at the time, so I went to go walk my dog, and I had left my MacBook open with all the texts from him. And so he was really mad at the time, and he just kept texting me. Like, every time he would get mad, he would text me, which is also another red flag. There's so many red flags. And then my dad saw that. He read all those messages because it was like right there in front of him, which technically he shouldn't have, but he did anyways. At this point in my life, I really don't care, but he did. So with that being said, he read it all. He told me about it. He told me his insights, like you should break up with the dude. But I'm just like, you know what? Like, it was one time thing. He was mad. Like, I'm gonna give him another chance. So obviously, my dad already did not like the fact that he did that, and like he was very controlling and manipulative in a way. So there was just that big red flag right there. But I ignored it. I gave him a chance. A year passes by. He's already met all my family. I met all his family. My family basically hates him. Like, not even my brother like likes him. Like, no one likes him. I just kept going. I just feel like the way like he communicates shit with me, and like I tried communicating with him, but like he just wouldn't listen. It was really hard to communicate with him, like really hard. And the way he would say shit to me, like he would degrade me, and I feel like I did have anxiety as well. Like, that just gave me anxiety. I was on birth control pill as well. Like, my hormones were just all over the place. I hated being on birth control pill. That's the worst ever. So I kept giving him chance by chance by chance by chance by chance by chance. And my brother and my family, I would say, like, he's very controlling. Like, you're like Hitler to him. Like, when he tells you to like go here, and like one of my closest friends in college, like she even saw it like later on. She's like, hey, like you really need, like, there's so many people that told me to break up with him, but I kept giving him a chance. And it's really hard like to communicate with those type of people, because like they just degrade the person they're dating at the time. And just the way he would control me and everything, like who I would hang out with, or like where I would be, or like when I would come to see him and stuff. Like, he would just control my life. He was basically in control of my life. So, with that being said, I'm not gonna have enough time, but basically, like, I feel like I'm gonna have to make a part 2 with this. It's long. I feel like all these stories are really long. Like, that's why, like, 4 hours McKinley, a couple hours Kayla. So I'm going to have to continue this in part 2. Get my thoughts together a little bit. I can't get my thoughts together when the timer's right there and I can't think. But part 2 coming up really soon. Part 2 of my story. It's basically like GV mental abuse story, because like he basically, like, he didn't lay hands on me like during the 4 years, but he basically degraded me all the time. He controlled the shit out of me, and I stupidly gave him chance by chance by chance by chance, and everyone always told me to break up soon before it gets too late. But I saw past that, and I was dumb enough to make it last for 4 years and a half. But talking about that half. So when it hit 4 years, and then basically that I'd say half a year. That was the time when he was lying and cheating behind my back, and that I didn't know. I found out 6 months into that, obviously half a year. That's why 4.5. So it started, so month 6, when I was moving into my own studio. I was already kind of suspicious before month 6, like when we were doing the deed, and all of a sudden he wanted to like change positions. Like after 4 years, like why all of a sudden you want to do it differently? You want to do different, like orally, not just sexually, like, you know, just that. And I kind of like looked it up, saying like, is your, like, does it mean that your man is cheating when all of a sudden he wants to do different things, like sexually? And part of it said yes. So obviously an abuser is not going to tell the truth, constantly lie, and obviously he's not going to come forward with what he's been doing behind my back. So month 6, basically when I moved into my studio, my parents helped me move in. He said that he would help me, and my parents were kind of suspicious already. They're like, oh, how come he's taking literally forever to come and help me? Like, we almost had everything moved into my studio, and he wasn't there. Obviously, I didn't have his location. He never shared his location with me, whether he was using an Android phone or an iPhone. Like, his Snapchat location was always off, so I never knew where his location was. The day, or a couple days before I moved into my studio, I was hanging out at his house, his parents' house, basically, because he lived with his parents. He's not making enough money to live on his own. So, and then one of my closest friends from college, she calls me, and all of a sudden he gets like all feisty, like, oh, like, is that your friend, like, so-and-so? And she's like, oh, don't talk to her. I'm like, why the fuck don't you want me to talk to her? Like, she's one of my closest friends. Like, you know this. And it's because she's like, okay, girl, when you're at home, back at my house, call me. He almost threw my phone out the window. It started to get bad. Really bad. Because he knew what he was doing was wrong. Since he never communicated with me before he got with this girl. He just didn't communicate with me to break up with me, and he knew he was in the wrong, and he knew he was cheating. Obviously, like, he knows, like, what the fuck he's doing for the past 6 months. Anyways, so with that being said, I end up at my house later on that night. I call her. She tells me everything. It's like, hey, like, I seen he posted this one girl named Caitlin on his Snapchat story. They were going down south for her to get like a boob job or something. I don't know. And like, do you know he has a friend named Caitlin? I'm like, no. So obviously, you know, my friend was letting me know this, and then when I found out that he was cheating on me, made a whole second relationship for 6 months, and that's why he wanted to do different, like, he was fucking 2 girls for 6 months. Back when he first started dating this second girl, I found out through one of his girlfriends, that he basically said like, oh, does Tori know about this? And he's like, oh yeah. He lied to them, obviously, saying that I knew, which I didn't. So obviously, like, when I found out about it, month 6, obviously, you know, he tried playing victim, he tried playing innocent. He went through all my phone, and he saw like all these guys like replying back to me on Snapchat and shit. And then I guess like this one dude didn't know I was in a relationship. I'm just like, I guess the topic never came up to that dude, but I don't know, this was like fucking like 4 years ago at this point. I don't even remember that dude's Snapchat anymore. I don't even know if I even had that dude's Snapchat. Like, I don't remember. So obviously, when he found that out, he got more than verbally, mentally abusive. He punched a hole in the wall. He almost laid hands on me, but he didn't. I went like this, and so he went like this. Luckily, I avoided that, but he wanted to lay hands on me. And then, I guess, he had me go to a park. Meanwhile, he moved all his shit out of my house. Since he wasn't on the lease, he could just move the fuck out. Meanwhile, that was happening. I was at the park. Some girl saw me crying. Like, so she, yeah. Anyways, that's another story. But basically, after 4 years being very controlling, verbally abusive, always degrading the fuck out of me, never really having a true like relationship, most of my friends and family not liking him, and me just not seeing the red flags. Finally, after the cheating and everything, okay, it took him a little bit to get out of my house. Not just by like the first instance where he was packing his shit up. So he actually made himself stay for, I'd say, another month and a half, which was miserable for me, but I was just going to work. Just, I don't know what the fuck he was doing in the day when I was at work. And then after a month and a half, I'm like, I can't do this no more. So we're just like, I think we need a break. But obviously that was the time that we officially broke up. He moved the fuck out of my house. I'm like, he left. Woo! So I just did me after that because I need to get the fuck out of there. Fuck out of that relationship. Bye, bitch. But he hit me up, which I did not reply back like 2-3 months later. I'm like, no, I'm good. I want to focus on myself. And that's what I did. So that's basically the end of the story. If y'all have any questions or like, I don't think I got that deep into it. I just wanted to do part 1 and part 2. But that wasn't too much compared to like other stories. But yeah, so now I'm in the healthiest relationship in my life with my boyfriend, Jordan. So 4 years later, I finally found the one.